Olga has been one of the authors of the iconic architecture of the 21st century, Herzog de Meuron.
State modern, which is abandoned power station transformed into a contemporary art museum. A Philharmonie in Hamburg, where this building became the icon of the city. Philharmonic Concert Hall hosted more than 25 million visitors since its opening.
This is actually exact the reason why we wanted to work with HDM, because our approach is usually to push our boundaries beyond what we can imagine by ourselves.
How would you define meaningful architecture?
We start each of our projects from the site, from the context, from the culture of the place, from the local materials, from the history, and from the dialogue with the client.
Riviera Residences combines individuality as well as community. How did you manage to do this?
Now we have more than 35 typologies of apartments, and this is insane.
True luxury, being close to nature, bringing it really into the city life, terracing down this podium, bringing in gardens, and it's a kind of a stepped landscape of trees, pool, water, microclimate.
What makes residential architecture really for people? Welcome back to the Merid Talks podcast. I'm your host, Harley Jenner, and in every episode, we go beyond property to explore how great people and bold ideas design the way we live, work, and connect. Today, I'm joined by two wonderful professionals. The first to join us is Natalia Ermolenko. Natalia is the Chief Product Officer of the holding company. Having an academic background in architecture, she joined the group of companies in 2013 and has been with Merid since it was formed. She serves as the leading expert in product vision and design. Her primary expertise is generating profit and addressing authentic user requirements. She actively contributes to professional forums and industry conferences. Our second guest today is Olga Bolshanina. For 19 years, Olga has been one of the authors of the iconic architecture of the 21st century, Herzog de Meuron, an international architectural practice based in Basel, Switzerland, and they practice a wide range of products across Europe, the Americas, and Asia. Olga has been responsible for numerous international projects, such as the Concept Master Plan for Lyon Confluence in France, the Skolkovo District Master Plan, and the Skolkovo Institute of Science and Technology in Moscow, Russia. Today, Olga is a member of the Herzog de Meuron's executive board and is a partner in charge of the variety of architectural and urban projects. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Harley.
So it's great to have you both with me today. And for many people, especially those who do not have a background in architecture, we judge buildings by that looks pretty, or I like the shape or the style of this. But architecture is about so much more than something looks. And in today's episode, I would like to explore how great architecture comes to be, and how it can connect people and even become part of our daily lives and part of a city's story. So, Natalia, why was it important for Merid to partner with Herzog de Meuron?
So, the Merid company is a company who is addressing our design to the people. And the Herzog de Meuron approach is more about the people in finding how people can live in the cities.
Okay.
And we as a developer believe that the environment that we build is for people to shape their life and maybe educate somehow to show the new ways of life, maybe to add more human experience and etc. Let's say.
Okay. And Olga, what convinced you that Merid was the right fit for Herzog de Meuron?
Great question. I mean, certainly one thing I can say that Merid has been a really fantastic client, and we had a really beautiful and fruitful collaboration. In general, Herzog de Meuron doesn't really specialize on one type of projects. Our portfolio is really diverse. We work on cultural projects. We have built more than 30 museums around the world. We have been several stadiums, and fewer people know that sometimes we also work on more commercial projects.
Okay.
For us, there is no preconceived idea about good or bad projects. We believe that independently from a scale or size of a project, each of them have a responsibility to impact the public space, to impact the urban environment, and they all contribute and bring something to our cities. So when we were approached to Merit, for us it was important to understand whether they are looking for the same quality that we do, whether we can find the right dialogue, we find the right values in our design principles. And I think throughout our collaboration it has been really inspiring, and we really could expand on it within this collaboration.
This is actually exactly the reason why we wanted to work with HDM, because our approach is usually to push our boundaries beyond what we can imagine by ourselves. And HDM is a good partner to have this conversation.
So you've mentioned before that it was never a goal to create something impressive, but to create something meaningful. So what's the difference between meaningful architecture and something that looks good?
Very good question. Listen, when we start our projects, we really, as I said, we have no preconceived ideas when we start to design our projects.
Okay.
There is never an aim to create a great shape or a nice form on an iconic building. It is really about site-specific architecture. We start each of our projects from the site, from the context, from the culture of the place, from the local materials, from the history, and from the dialogue with the client, from the specific brief, but also from the climate, the climate, the temperature, the humidity, how people are in the space, how they feel. So all of these parameters that are really specific to each and single project and each and single site influence our architecture. So we feel like by taking these parameters into account and starting from this, our research and our variety of options that we develop, we make the projects more meaningful to the place.
Okay, great. And Natalia, how would you define meaningful architecture?
I'm totally agree with Olga, because architecture is always about people and always about environment. So what makes it meaningful? The people who experience something, emotions, or maybe the daily life, etc. And for sure, architecture must have a context and the place, the sense of place. So that's why I think it's meaningful.
What's the main difference between designing a commercial or public space compared to a residential space?
In each project, regardless of its scale or importance, we seek to create urban life they must and have to create, and they can create. So we're really trying to go beyond the brief, and we try to bring in this urban life within our projects. I mean, of course, there's a difference between designing a public building that has a wider reach to the city, to the inhabitants of the city. It has an importance and contribution to the life and the community, but the private projects are as well, because we influence the public realm, we impact the urban fabric. For instance, in the Middle East, a current challenge is the amount of parking and the amount of podium parking that is negatively impacting the urban space and the liveliness of the urban space. So within a project like that, we really worked on reinventing the podium parking. We really wanted to create something completely new, unique. It's a really, first of all, by lowering the height of this base of the building, by bringing it down to the pedestrian scale, by bringing it down to the human scale, by activating the promenade, bringing in active functions along. So bringing it really into the city life. Terracing down this podium, bringing in gardens, and it's a kind of a stepped landscape of trees, pool, water, microclimate, and so on. And so really wanted to not only care about the amenities within this residential development, not only care for the residents, but also bring something to activate this growing and newly establishing neighborhood.
Beautiful. So you mentioned that Herzog de Meuron's approach is from the inside out. What does that look like in practice?
As I mentioned earlier that we never start from from outside in. We never start from identity of the project per se. Yes, certainly we look first at the typology it should have. How do we want to relate to the urban space? How do we want kind of typology we want to do? How do we want the people to live? But ultimately, when you design a residential space, the quality of the actual units, of actual apartments, is the most important things.
Okay.
So Natalia will be able to tell you a lot in detail about layouts, because she's an absolute master of the layouts. But we really start from planning the apartment, from finding the right proportions, for finding the right spaces, and make the really great floor plan and a great residential unit.
Okay.
So in a way, our project is like a stack of slabs and individual rooms. These individual rooms, they express themselves on the facade. So for example, we have rooms with fully glazed facade.
Okay.
This is like a panoramic views all over the bay, but we also have invented for this specific project a bay window room. So we have these unique design elements that create the signature spaces on the inside. They are a dining room or bedroom, and they also have a frame view towards the outside. So this combination of these panoramic rooms and these bay view rooms, they are stacked together on the slabs, and they create the identity of the project. So what's inside then express itself on the outside. And that's why I'm saying it has to be designed from inside out, because we don't start from the architectural expression. It's really the life within the building that shapes its identity.
Can you explain more how you develop the layouts?
Yes, for sure. Thank you. We're creating projects for people who will live in, and there are so many ways how people living, so many types of families. You can be single, you can be together, you can be with 2 kids and 3 kids. And for sure, the behind the brief is great analytics about the market, about the people who's living in this region. So we're creating kind of matrix. It was not an easy task for HDM to hit our requirements, because some percentage or something, etc. But in our collaboration, what we understand that we know for sure, all these technical requirements for apartments, but that guys, they can bring something new to an experience of living. As Olga said, there's balconies, that bay windows, panoramic views. So now we have more than 35 typologies of apartments, and this is insane. I never seen such many types of apartments ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we designed that through all our collaborations, through all months. That was back and forth. I can't be satisfied from first time.
I can confirm.
Yeah, I want to polish that diamond till 100% and more. So now I'm satisfied. Thank you, guys.
Great. Why did you end up deciding on 35 different typologies? Why is it such a large number?
Okay, the diversity is always good for residential projects, because we want to invite more people from really different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And as I said, they have a different styles of living. And then we have like more than 35 actually types of apartments. That means that we can create a community of different people that can be bound to the same values. We can see how our amenities and our lifestyle, how the urban life will bloom.
Okay, great. And how can architecture create a sense of comfort beyond air conditioning? So in terms of the shade, the microclimate, and natural ventilation.
Yes, thank you, Harley. That's a very important question. For Herzog de Meuron, it's truly important to create climate appropriate architecture. So from the very beginning in this project, we actually been looking at the relevant vernacular references. We started actually with looking at the vernacular architecture of the region, and our first proposal for this project was to actually design a rammed earth facade for such a high-rise building.
Okay.
We went quite far in this development, and the client was on board, but over time, the challenges of how to build that, how to build a high rise, how to prefabricate. Let's say it was too big of a project for such a big experiment, but maybe we will later do that with the same client. But then what was important for us, though, that we create the right amount of glazed versus solid facades, because typically in this region, I don't know why, but we have a lot of glazed towers, a lot of them impermeable, sealed. So for us, what's important is the relationship from inside to the outside, that each apartment opens towards the outside. So we have a generous balconies, terraces, we have sliding windows. So in mild months of the year, we can completely open the facade and then let the wind come in. And so, finding this right balance between glazed and solid facade, these deep balconies, terraces that create a passive sun shading, operable windows that allow the wind to come in, all of those parameters allow the people to really kind of extend their lifestyle from inside to outside.
And what makes the glass-dominated towers less suitable for GCC living and the environment here?
Well, they simply overheat. So glass is a material that have a great solar gain. So that means that the sun comes in. So in order to reflect that sun, one have to make a lot of a very reflective facade. So it results in very dark buildings. Dark buildings again attract a lot of sun because the dark color absorbing. And then we will have to seal the whole building because we want to protect from the heat. So that requires a lot of air conditioning. And it's a kind of a snowball effect or sandball effect, where it gets hotter and hotter inside. So, I mean, that's why vernacular architecture makes sense. That's why courtyard houses, low-rise, mineral architecture, so mineral materials was really important for us. For example, in our project, we have these ocean villa typologies along the podium. Those ocean villas have these private patios in the middle, and they are reminiscent of this vernacular typology.
Lovely. Herzog de Meuron is known for creating buildings that feel unique but also fit into the places where they're being built. How do you achieve this balance, especially in an upcoming area like Al Reem Island?
Natalia was also a witness of this process. As I said, we started with the Ramnors facade because we believed that we have to do climate appropriate architecture. Quickly, we understood that Abu Dhabi has its own contemporary architectural identity by now, and we had to react in a more innocent way almost to this parameter. So once we figure out that the Ramnors was a challenge, we wanted to find another mineral material that would talk to the culture, that would talk to the place. So now we have this unique bay windows. Now we have a ceramic facade. So ceramic is also a material that comes from the tradition in the region. And we have chosen for it a white color, pearl color, in fact, because here again, as a reminiscent of the reference to the pearl dyeing culture of the region, we saw that this white pearl color would belong to this place on one hand. On the other hand, there's this really specific light in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. There's the golden morning sun, this outstanding sunsets, and this humidity in the air that always create a certain mist. And we think that this white reflective facade elements, they will be reflecting the specific light of the day, and the building actually will change identity as we move from the morning to the night. So we believe we have something that is rooted to the place while being very contemporary.
Great. And Natalia, are there any examples that you can think of buildings that don't fit the area where they belong?
For me, I have really high standards for aesthetic and for
Mm-hmm.
architecture, because like I'm working with it, and I
Yes.
always want to do for my company like the best. And when I traveling or just going around the city, there are so many things that can be, just detaching you from the city.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe this tower just, give you not enough shadow if it's
Yeah.
a sunny side of the road, or maybe that will be the road without any retail or shop or
Mm-hmm.
cafe or something. In urban development, there are so many mistakes that can be made with transport, with buildings, with greenery, with a lot of things. It's
Yeah.
really complex. So it's better to say which is really fit to, because there's not so many.
Yeah. And on the other hand, are there examples that do really fit well, other than Riviera Residences and iconic residences?
I can't say nothing.
Okay, then I shall move on to the next question. Olga, can you share an example of your work where you had to rethink the existing urban experience to make it more vibrant and engaging for people?
Well, Herzog de Meuron certainly have several projects that have changed cities and changed neighborhoods and reshaped the urban fabric of these areas. So to start with, of course, Tate Modern, which is one of the projects that really brought Herzog de Meuron into international scene. It was our first big international project, and this abandoned, dilapidated, formal power station transformed into a contemporary art museum. So by transforming this museum into what it is today, the whole neighborhood around it changed.
Okay.
And by creating the Turbine Hall, which is a very unique experimental installation as an experimental art space. So this building really changed the life of this neighborhood.
Okay.
Same as Philharmonie in Hamburg, where this building became the icon of the city of Hamburg, and the plaza that is on top of this brick building, on the top of this former coffee storage building, and below the main Philharmonic concert hall is the super popular place. It hosted more than 25 million visitors since its opening. And this going beyond brief and always introducing the public spaces that are in addition to the required program, they really embed those buildings in the life of the city and the neighborhood, and I think really contributes to the to transformation of the cities.
So, Olga, you've said Riviera Residences combines individuality as well as community. How did you manage to do this?
I think in a residential project, it's a very key parameter. How do you feel together, alone? And I think on one hand, we start from the units. We create the perfect units that feel good to a family, to a couple, to the different kind of users. And then our facade, for instance, here also we in the Middle East, so the privacy is of utmost importance. It's a cultural parameter as well. So between our apartments, we actually have these bay windows, and they separate balconies from each other.
Okay.
So actually, when you're in your balcony, you're protected from the neighbor, so you don't see your neighbor. You're in your own world, you're in your own balcony, in your own private environment. Then we have incredible amenities and gardens. A lot of design care went into designing this amenities and gardens. So we again have several layers of vegetation. We have tall trees for shade. We have a lush layers of vegetation for creating filters and promenades and kind of the more green, lush environment. And there is a really just thoughtful design and a lot of care that went to designing all these amenity areas, from the family area that is for the families with kids, and how we create the playground adjacent to the family area, or how we create a spa with a really great view to the garden, but without possibility of overlooking that window, and so on. So it's just layers of thinking and careful design, and nothing is for granted, and nothing is done quickly. It's just again and dialogue and a discussion and refining layouts. And Natalia personally spent a lot of time marking them up and making sure they are perfect. So it was a great dialogue. We learned a lot also from in this process about the expectations for this kind of level residential complex. And we also, I think, teach the client certain things, and so we kind of learn from each other within the design process.
Let me just explain a little bit what is happening before architects. We're usually preparing brief. So we as a team of people inside the developers, so we're thinking what we can do for people, like what our values, what the people values over the years. So we started thinking, for example, about amenities, and we think, okay, we want to build a community, so that must be kind of lounge. Yes, lounge will be the key point. What must have this lounge? That will be the pool area, right? Done. So we're thinking about our new building without any architect or without any, drawings, just to set up the product vision for our customers and our audience. And then when we approach an architect, we start a journey to know each other better and to define the really in details our project together.
Okay, so then you give the architect the list of what you want, your requirements, and then you work together to implement that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say it's not just the list, it's really the vision, It's important at the beginning to listen to our clients, because one thing is what we write down, and then the other thing how we explain it. And so like we now considering starting new projects together with Merit, and being on site together with Natalia, we were just talking about how this project will be, what is the vision for this place, what's the character of this place, what it should create, how it should, for whom this project will be, and how this would work, and how can we kind of touch a certain generations of people or certain type of users. And it's really to align on the values, to align on the common
vision.
values together, and then kind of carefully design them together so they represent both of our convictions in architecture.
And Riviera Residences has a huge number or a huge amenities area. Was this something that was
unexpected?
Did you have this idea from the beginning, or is this something that you worked together to come up with in the end? I don't think I've seen a developer have this many amenities in Dubai or Abu Dhabi.
We thought that we must have amenities, but we can't ever imagine like that it will be like that. So in general, we had this idea, but then during this design process, maybe we can do that, maybe we can do that. It's always a conversation.
Can you highlight what amenities we actually have in Riviera Residences?
Okay, so the main point of our amenities is a lounge area. We think about this place as a place where people can gather together during the day. For example, near the pool, or drinking some juice or tea or something. And during the evening, they can start a meaningful conversation about the day. Maybe they can spend their time with the older kids, with the small kids. Maybe they can meet somebody new from this building as well. The other two parties, one of them belongs to the kids and family area. So it's a dining place where you can spend your evenings, cook something. You can invite a chef to teach you how to cook something, because in this region we know that people really love to cook. They really love to celebrate the family values. So that's why we have the space. And also the kind of small lounge area outside, then you can see the sunset, or just feel the wind and hear the sound of the trees and etc. It's so romantic. The other part is the kids area, so it's a playful area for the youngest people who will live with us. And third part as a spa area and the fitness area. We know this is the key value for the most of the people, and this is coming like the new way of life. Many years ago, the fitness was an add-on to your life, but nowadays This is your life. You want to be healthy, you want to live longer, you want to look good. So that's why we have fitness, we have spa, there is a hammam, sauna, some changing rooms, and all these things are integrated to our amenities. So you can enjoy outdoor sports amenities like paddle court, cold plunge, and sport pool.
Okay, great. And in your view, what makes residential architecture really for people?
Architecture is for people by definition. There's bad architecture for people, there's good architecture for people. I hope we're doing a good architecture for people. But for us, it is important to create comfort. How can one create comfort in this climate? We already talked about climate appropriate architecture. We already talked about reasonable ratio of solid versus glazed facade. We already talked about passive shading from our terraces and balconies, the privacy. But one very important aspect of this project is landscape.
Okay.
We worked together with Michel Devine, paysagist, landscape architects from Paris. We have many years of fantastic collaboration with them. We really appreciate working together with them on our various types of projects. And here we wanted to create comfortable outdoor environment. So landscape, vegetation, the whole idea of how this terraced paysage, terraced base of the project comes together to the promenade.
Okay.
How do we create several layers of vegetation? We have tall trees for shade. We have a lush layers of vegetation to create privacy. We have a shaded walks. We have a sunny areas. So this whole generous gardens of the project, the essential aspect for our design. We think this is a true luxury, being close to nature, being close to the trees, being close to the shadow, being close to the water. That's what really connects people to the environment where they live, and that's what makes this project for people.
Olga mentioned earlier, she touched on privacy. So in this region, privacy is very important. How did you come up with this from the developer's side as well?
Olga mentioned bay window typology. I also want to add that we have different type of apartments and also different types of privacy things to have this privacy. For example, we have sky villas, and these sky villas located on the top of our building, and they are exposed to the sun. So we know that it's not possible to spend such many time on the sun.
Yes.
So Herzog de Meuron proposed us to have the pergola. So this pergola will give us shadow and also the privacy. So the people on level above can't see what's happening below.
Okay.
Yes, and also the second typology here as our ocean villas. So they have a private, absolutely private courtyard, but also they have a terraces which is extroverted to promenade. But also on the promenade we have a retail, and you know, the height of this retail is around the 6 meters and it's glazed. But what we were thinking about together with HDM, how to protect our people who will enjoy in the cafe and urban life inside this retail. So Herzog de Meuron proposed us to have the shadow
sun shading, marquise
elements, and it adds to our promenade more Riviera style. So it serves to function, first protect, and the other to give some vibe which we want to have in our promenade.
Can you share an example from Riviera Residences where a material or detail became a symbol of the building's identity?
Yes, I actually have one great example. I mean, I already mentioned earlier the pearl-like ceramic cladding of the facade. I think that's one element that is important for the identity of this project. But we also have this sand 3D printed fresco in the lobby. So we have been designing the interiors for lobby and the amenities. And this element is really a signature piece at the entrance. So it's roughly, I think, 7 meter tall by 35-meter long. And in other projects in the history of Herzog de Meuron, we have been working with these historically relevant images or lithographs from the time, and they've been transposing them and the different materials within our projects. Silk screen on concrete or glass in Ricola or Eberswalde in Germany, or cast concrete gravure for the winery in France, or engraved wooden texture for the Trois Rois in Basel. So here we wanted to also work with the lithograph of the 19th century that describes the kind of pearl diving tradition of the region. And but we wanted to use the local material. We wanted to take something from the sand, from the site. We wanted to take something from the desert. So we decided to use the sand as the material for this fresco, and working together with the company that are able to print this in 3D, we are developing this unique piece. So for us, somehow it relates to the history of the city on one hand, on the other hand, to the history of the place.
Thank you for such a great conversation. It's clear that architecture isn't just in the drawings and on paper. It's how people experience and feel something and how it can be part of people's lives. So I'd like to end this podcast by asking a few questions that I ask all of our guests. So the first one is, what does luxury mean to you?
So for me, luxury is the ability to experience a lot. And I believe that in our cities or whatever, there are different parts of the world. The better you feel, the better you experience, the more you experience. This is your luxury.
Luxury. Being alone in the forest.
Perfect.
You know, I don't know, somehow time is luxury.
Yes.
Saying having time with friends and family is a luxury. Being close to the nature is luxury. So I think, yeah, having being close to the water, to the landscape, to the senses, to feel, to taste, to experience, as Natalia said. So at the end, I think we all need time to feel.
Yes. And what matters most to you when choosing a property?
A garden.
Okay.
Somehow I am actually a countryside girl. And I've been living in various urban environments. I grew up in the village, then I've been living in Switzerland, in Lausanne. It's a city. Then now Basel. Basel has a nice scale of on one hand it's urban and vibrant, and the other hand is also kind of intimate and slow. And I don't know, I'm so busy traveling the world and always on a plane to somewhere. And so when I come home, my terrace with my trees and my plants and my basilicum and whatever, just like taking care of some living species and kind of being close to the senses and to this simple things is for me a nice thing.
And what matters the most to you when choosing a property?
You know, I love to be in the center of everything, but kind of separated from the busy life of the city.
Okay.
So for me matters with, some quiet alleys, but in the really center of the city. So that's for me important, to be connected to the city, but somehow detached of it.
Okay.
And also I'm kind of low-rise girl. So I try, but I really can't live higher, like 50 meters.
Okay.
Like for me, it's a kind of personal thing, and I'm really enjoying that. In our building, you can choose like whatever, every floor. So basically, this is it.
And what do you think will matter most to future generations in their homes?
I guess what I said earlier was still relevant to this question. I mean, I think that time will matter. The time with family and friends will matter. The flexibility will matter. Sustainable lifestyle, healthy lifestyle. I mean, less is more. Yes, we need to experience more, but maybe we also realize that we need less. And I think feel rooted somehow, because we're also busy and moving and so on. So feel really good somewhere, be rooted somewhere, feel like, oh, that's my place. That place is speaking to me. I relate to this place. I feel good here. So find those kind of anchor points in your life where you feel good, you feel grounded. I think that's going to remain an important value.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today, and I'm hoping to have you on a future episode soon.
Thank you,
Thank
Harley.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harley.